Hey, friendo, Steve here. Welcome back to MFTV. Today we're going to talk about Zack Snyder's Justice League. Ooh, aren't we all excited? No? Fine. Then turn off this video and watch the time when I made Lacey watch Deathmatch, because that was pretty entertaining. They wouldn't show the match on YouTube if he died.
Bro, he broke his neck.
No, for the rest of you who are sticking around and are interested in watching the Snyder Cut, I've got good news for you. It's coming out very soon. It's coming out next week on Thursday, I believe the 18th of March. And I am going to commemorate this momentous occasion. Yeah, Thursday, that's right. By doing a live watch along of it at twitch.tv/Steve and Larson. That's for the home to doing all my live stream stuff. And that's supposed to come out 11 p.m. Pacific, 2 a.m. Eastern. And that would be 11 to, what is that, like 7 a.m. in England or something like that, if you guys even get it. I don't know. So it's kind of cool. I'm not like overwhelmingly excited about this. I'm interested. This is a subject that just interests me because it is a unique situation. This sort of complete and utter do-over on a movie that already came out, grossed like $650 some odd million, was widely panned, understandably so, as a terrible movie. And a lot of that has been chalked up to, well, this guy, Joss Whedon, was brought in to finish a movie, and instead of finishing it, he completely effed it up. And when I say effed it up, I mean he fucked it up, right? And the situation behind it all is just tragic because Zack Snyder, the director, he like lost his daughter, like she passed away. And he was grieving and he took time away. And then Joss Whedon came in and completely screwed things up. And then it was like, wait, there's a lot of footage out there. And HBO Max is sitting, or Warner Brothers is sitting on it. They got this HBO Max thing that's coming out. And, you know, these fans put together these petitions, which usually I'm like, you know what? I'm not a huge fan of when fans just like to bitch and moan about something not going their way. You know, like there was a petition, I think, to redo the entire last season of Game of Thrones, which is just, come on, that's just ridiculous. That happened the way the creators intended it to happen, and that's what happened. So you're stuck with it. In this case, it is a little bit different, though. I mean, there was a completely other movie that was just sort of there. And then on top of that, they brought in and did like a whole ton of reshoots and spent a lot of money to like actually make this other movie because like there was other footage laying around. So it's a unique situation. I feel like in this case, this is kind of interesting. I don't think we're going to get a whole lot of these. I mean, as much as fans would love to see, for example, a better cut of Suicide Squad, which I've only seen a couple minutes of. That movie looked like computer. I watched a little bit of it and it was just terrible. You know, I mean, I just don't feel like there's going to be a lot of situations like this where one movie happens, the director drops out, and then another director comes in, spends a bunch of money and reshoots a bunch of stuff and basically makes an entirely different and much worse movie than it would have been in the first place. So I am very interested as a fan of movies, as a kid who grew up on DC Comics, as a guy who just likes to see these characters come to life on the screen, for better or worse. I'm interested in this, and I'm curious. I think there's been some interesting moves in the DC cinematic universe lately where they're embracing the idea of the multiverse. Michael Keaton is going to reprise his Batman in this upcoming Flash movie. And then Ben Affleck might be in that too, and then he'll bow out, and then Keaton will be the real Batman. But then there's like another Batman out there too, who's not going to have anything to do with this stuff, and that's Robert Pattinson. And I think it's really cool that DC is finally embracing the one thing that their comics really stood out from Marvel with their multiverse. You know, back in the day, they fixed all their publishing continuity issues by just saying, oh, the Green Lantern back in the day that doesn't look anything like this Green Lantern now, it was just a different universe. Yeah, we published him 20 years ago, but he's just a different universe. And all their big events through the decades have been basically based off of DC sort of starting and restarting and rebooting and whatnot, their multiverse, which is a really cool concept. And so I think it's great that DC has now sort of embraced this idea that, hey, we can have Robert Pattinson doing his Batman, and then maybe we could have somebody else do a different Batman, and then we could have a third Batman out there too. You got the dude playing Superman on CW, and then you got Henry Cavill who still wants to be Superman, and they're making yet another Superman movie with like J.J. Abrams, and they can all just happily coexist. I hope we get more Henry Cavill as Superman because I think he's been like the best one so far.
That's very kind of you. I appreciate your vigor.
So anyways, I thought that I would do a video where I talk about what I'm looking forward to most out of this new Justice League movie. And I'm just going to start off here with number one. First and foremost, I'm looking forward to no fake mustache, no mustached out, no fake mouth on Henry Cavill. This was the thing when I went to go see this Justice League movie that took me out of the movie immediately, and it never ceased to take me out of the movie. So apparently the story was, originally, Henry Cavill wasn't supposed to be in the Justice League movie all that much. From what I understand, the majority of it was them trying to figure out, was them like going, and then eventually they'd wake him up. And he was in this last Justice League. He was in the Whedon Justice League movie quite a bit. And if you notice, throughout the vast majority of his scenes, he's got a weird upper lip, doing weird shit. That's because they brought him back to do reshoots, and he was already shooting that Mission Impossible movie, in which he had a very prominent, lovely-looking, sexy mustache. And instead of having him shave that, Warner Brothers like, or whoever, Mission Impossible producer was like, no, we can't do that. No, sorry. Now you're stuck with a mustachioed Clark Kent. And they're like, well, it's okay. We'll just digitally remove it because we want a lot of Superman in this movie. What a stupid fucking idea that was. Anyways, so first up, no weird upper lip for Henry Cavill because it's very distracting. I don't know if we're going to get a whole lot of Hank Cavill in this particular Justice League movie because, he died. Spoiler alert, he died at the end of Batman versus Superman. And I think that if this is true to Zack Snyder's vision, he has said he's not in this movie a whole lot because, he's going dark before he's supposed to go lighter. Number two thing to look out for in this movie is the Cyborg character who was barely in Joss Whedon's Justice League movie. I barely remember anything about this kid, played by Ray Fisher. He seems to be very excited about this. I saw HBO Max dropped like a little mini trailer. They've been doing these little mini character trailers lately in the lead up to the release of the Snyder Cut. And Cyborg got one, and it just looks like it's just like in this little concentrated 35 seconds that they gave you. It's like some really cool little character stuff there. And he seems really excited about this. I know this is one of the characters Zack Snyder really was looking forward to sort of working with, the Cyborg character. And Ray Fisher, the actor, seems really, really happy about, getting a second chance for people to get to know Cyborg. And here we are like 4 years after that movie was released. And as an actor, he is able to show the world what he put all of that hard work into. And so I'm very much looking forward to what they do with Cyborg. Next thing that I'm looking forward to is this. Knowing that the cast that I'm watching on the screen wasn't being bullied by an asshole director. So this was very disappointing to find out that Joss Whedon apparently is a big piece of shit. And he's a big bully on the set of his movies and TV shows. Charisma Carpenter had a big statement talking about how much of an asshole he was to her while they were filming Buffy, the Vampire Slayer, and Angel. And then Ray Fisher had a tweet a little while ago. It said, Joss Whedon's on-set treatment of the cast and crew of the Justice League was gross, abusive, unprofessional, and completely unacceptable. And he was enabled in many ways by Jeff Johns and John Berg. So fuck all those people. I think that one thing that I sort of, had always heard about like Zack Snyder movies is that he runs a fun set. He runs a good set. Nobody ever complains about him. He seems like a decent guy. And honestly, that kind of matters more to me than whether or not the guy uses like, the cranking camera slow motion stuff too much, or if his stuff is way too stylized. Like, I like knowing that the people that I'm watching on the screen are being treated well. Doesn't everybody want that, right? I mean, look, I'm a huge Stanley Kubrick fan. And I know he put his actors through hell with take after take after take after take. But let's face it, Stanley Kubrick was a genius. So those movies are fucking amazing. Anyways, moving on here. This is also something I'm kind of keeping an eye on. Is this going to open the door for more Snyder DC projects? Now, prior to this, it just seemed like he was done with the DC universe. Ben Affleck was moving on from continuing his involvement in the DC universe. It seemed like Marvel. Warner Brothers was done with Henry Cavill as Superman, even though he has said a couple times that he actually wants to be Superman. And so it seems like if this thing is a wild, wild success, if it's a massive success, and apparently there's already been like a rumor, but it's like, who knows if it's true? It's Hollywood. There's rumors all the time about all sorts of stuff, that if this does really well for HBO Max by whatever metric they use, because obviously this isn't a box office thing, but if this does really well by whatever metrics they use, they're going to take all that money they got, all that Warner money they got, and potentially continue on with some more Snyder-centric DC stuff. The original plan for this was to be like Justice League, and then I think Man of Steel 2, and then Justice League 2, and then like something else, and then Justice League 3. So we had a whole bunch of stuff planned with like the Darkseid storyline and some alternate universe stuff. So, you know, I mean, whether or not it would be good or not, I don't know. I mean, it sort of depends on if you like Zack Snyder. But, I mean, would this then reinvigorate Snyder's take on these characters? Would this say to at least HBO Max, hey, you know, one of these DC universes out of all the cinematic universes that we have needs to be Snyder's vision of things, and let him see it out? That'd be kind of interesting. Maybe they would back up the Brinks truck for Henry Cavill, for Ben Affleck to come back. Maybe we'd get Ben Affleck's version of the Batman. I mean, just recently, Zack Snyder was talking about how the Riddler would have played a big role in both the Batman movie and then leading into the Justice League sequels. So maybe that stuff will be back in play. I don't know. That Batman suit seems really uncomfortable. So who knows? Anyways, yeah, I mean, that would bleed into, obviously we're getting that Flash movie coming up, which is dealing with the multiverse thing. And we got, I think, the Green Lantern Corps series on HBO Max. Is that going to be set in the Snyderverse thing? Are we going to get more Henry Cavill? Maybe an HBO Max limited series with him, like he does with The Witcher? They already got that Superman show on the CW. How would that factor into things? I don't know. Be interesting to see if this, you know, leads them to sort of embrace Zack Snyder once again and say, hey, you're our guy. And then let's see here. This also, acknowledging the multiverse. So as I mentioned earlier, I think it'd be really interesting to see if, given that DC has this direction now where with this Flash movie, the Flashpoint movie, I think is what it's been called, they're going to focus on the multiverse. And so all these different properties are related in the fabric of space-time, and Flash is going to be the dude who can kind of access all this stuff. I wonder if, because there were like reshoots for this, I wonder if DC is maybe convinced Zack Snyder, hey, drop in an Easter egg or two about that upcoming stuff so that it all kind of connects. I think that'd be a great way, because he has also recently said that one of the reasons why he was allowed to do this was if he was willing to acknowledge that the Snyder version is not part of canon, which means it's not like the official version of it. I think a lot of people out there, the people who are diehard fans of the DC universe and they want to see more movies, are going to probably consider this the official version, whether or not Warner Brothers does. It's sort of up to the fans. And so I wonder if, given that Zack Snyder might want to work on more projects and understanding that DC, this is the route they're going to be taking, would he be willing to drop in a couple Easter eggs to suggest, hey, you know, what if we give like a sort of weird, subtle shout out to, like, you know, Michael Keaton's Batman or something like that will we get any of those sort of Easter eggs? He's already said that the epilogue to this Justice League movie might leave some doors open. So it'd be kind of interesting to see if he sort of dips his toe into the multiverse stuff that's coming up here with the Justice League. And then yeah, so you know, that's sort of what I'm on the lookout for. Look, I'll be honest with you, I'm sort of hot and cold on Zack Snyder. I've liked a handful of his movies. I actually did like a Batman. I liked Man of Steel quite a bit. I thought that movie was pretty rad. Batman versus Superman, a decent enough flick. I'm actually going to watch in the next couple of days here, probably this weekend. I'm going to watch the Ultimate Edition of that on HBO Max because it's like longer and apparently a more cohesive story. Like there's some story gaps that have been filled in. So I'm going to check that out prior to watching the Snyder Cut. And I mean, you know, I'm not necessarily expecting like an overwhelmingly great movie here because I just don't know that Zack Snyder's way of filmmaking is what I consider something that I would think is, oh, wow, this is really great. Plenty of people do, and that's great. Plenty of people like that Watchmen movie quite a bit. I wasn't a huge fan of it. I thought that it really got the production value down right, and I think the details visually were pretty darn good. I just had some issues with the general sort of atmosphere of the movie. His take on how that story should have been told was a bit too flashy for what I think it probably should have been. And some of the dialogue was a bit cringy and some of the performances were a bit hammy. So I don't know. I had a couple problems with that movie, but I know quite a few people really enjoyed that movie, and that's great. That's awesome. I'm not really expecting like a really great cohesive movie here. It's 4 hours long, at least. It's probably going to be 4+. I mean, at one point they were considering chopping this up into like a mini series, but they just decided we're just going to put all 4 hours out at once. And it's got an intermission, which is great because movies used to do that all the time back in like the 60s. So I'm not really like in search of like a really great movie or anything, but just something that actually feels like a movie that is like put together well, unlike the Joss Whedon version of Justice League, which barely feels like professionals made that movie. It was a crap movie, and it's shocking that Warner Brothers actually put that thing out and that somebody actually got paid for it. Turns out that guy was an asshole. Anyways, so that's what I'm expecting out of the Justice League movie, the Snyder Cut. Hopefully you'll join me to watch it super late at night on a Wednesday night, on a Thursday morning. We can all have some fun. We'll watch it together. Yeah. Once again, that's at twitch.tv/Steven Larson. Hey, before I leave, hit that subscribe button, leave this video a thumbs up, and help grow the Friendoville channel, and I'd really appreciate it. Also, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Let's try to steer away from the negativity. If you absolutely can't stand Zack Snyder, don't like any of these movies, don't bother commenting. I kind of don't care. If you're interested and intrigued and have something to offer, man, on that last video when I talked about WandaVision, some of you had some really awesome comments, some really well thought out stuff, some really well educated stuff. I was really impressed. So drop me some knowledge in the comments below. Let's have a real conversation. Why don't we? Thanks for watching. Till next time, I'll talk to you later.